But first, let's turn to the big story that's coming in from Dublin, Ireland. Before his all-important US visit starts tomorrow, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Ireland this afternoon for a brief stopover. The Prime Minister also later in the evening interacted with a 26,000-strong Indian community in Dublin before heading for New York. Mr. Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Ireland in 60 years. He will, of course, tomorrow be attending the UN General Assembly and also be meeting industry captains in New York. India will also be sharing the list of most wanted terrorists with Washington. The list includes 2611 masterminds, Hafiz Saeed, Zakir Rahman Lakhvi, also Dawood Ibrahim. Today, while interacting with the Indian diaspora, Modi lauded the Sanskrit verses sung by the Irish children and even had a dig, claiming that similar event might have created an uproar among secularists back home. Listen in.
अब आयरिश बच्चे संस्कृत में मंत्रोच्चार कर रहे हैं, स्वागत गान गा रहे हैं और वे रटे रटाए शब्द बोल रहे थे, ऐसा मुझे नहीं लगा। किस शब्द में उनका क्या भाव था वो भी अभिव्यक्त हो रहा था। मतलब उन्होंने इस बात को इंटरनलाइज कर दिया था। उनके जो भी शिक्षक इस काम को करते होंगे, मैं उनको बधाई देता हूं। लेकिन ये खुशी की बात है, आयरलैंड में तो हम ये कर सकते हैं, लेकिन हिंदुस्तान में ऐसा कुछ करते तो पता नहीं। सेक्युलरिज्म पर सवालिया निशान खड़ा हो जाता है।
Okay, that was Narendra Modi making a dig on so-called secularism. Joining me now, Lavina Tandon is joining me from Dublin. Smita Sharma is joining me from New York. Lavina, first to you. The Prime Minister just finished that speech not too long ago. I heard chants of Modi, Modi as he came to make that speech. How has this entire visit to Ireland been seen? Is this now a teaser for what we can expect in London, where Mr. Modi is expected to be in the middle of November, soon after Diwali?
Absolutely. This is not only a teaser for the London visit, where we are expecting, of course, not 2,000 people here because of the small hall, but 40,000 crowd in Wembley Stadium. But it is also a teaser to another relationship between Ireland and India. That's what I felt because I attended the briefing between the two prime ministers. It felt that it won't take another 60 years for a prime minister to visit here. In fact, it could be next year when Ireland celebrates its centenary, independence centenary, because that's kind of historical independence, fight for independence the two countries share. So this is a teaser for a new start in a relationship between Ireland and India. A few very important announcements have been made as well, that tourism will be encouraged, student visa will be simplified, and students coming to Ireland, Indian students, will be encouraged.
Right.
Probably a flight from Dublin, direct flight from much awaited, direct flight from Dublin to India will be worked upon by both the countries, which is exactly what the diaspora wanted. And where I'm standing here right now, behind me, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was standing. Probably you'll see a lot of people have been asked to leave, very tight security. But when he came, there was a roar, Har Har Modi, everywhere. And in fact, people were saying, he said that in 30 years, if we continue with the kind of progress that India is doing, then in 30 years, poverty will be elevated from India. And on that note, people said, well, we want you all the way through. So there was a lot of encouragement, a lot of enthusiasm amongst people. After all, a Prime Minister coming after 60 years. And I must say that there was not only the old crowd, but a lot of young crowd. Lots of young people. I have spoken to a lot of young people, and they say we have joined politics because of you. And I think that is quite an interesting piece that I feel has come off this. And I have spoken to a lot of other people now.
Lavina, I'll come back to you for more. It's interesting that you're referring to Har Har Modi, because during the election campaign of 2014 that had become controversial in Varanasi, and the Prime Minister himself had asked his supporters to stay away from that, but we found in Ireland there were his supporters cheering him with Har Har Modi. We haven't heard those Har Har Modi chants as yet, Smita, in New York. Clearly New York is still waiting for the Indian Prime Minister. I am presuming in New York it isn't the diaspora this time, unlike last year, but it is business, I believe. Narendra Modi's business in New York, particularly on day one, is business. I'm told he's having a dinner with Fortune 500 company CEOs.
Absolutely, Rajdeep. You know, this visit of Narendra Modi is going to be much different from the first one that we saw last year, clearly, where, you know, he had a different agenda. This time around, remember, you know, I'm outside the United Nations headquarters. This is where Narendra Modi had, of course, given his debut speech last year. But on 25th is when he comes in here and will deliver his speech at the Millennium, the Sustainable Development Goals Conference, where he will be focusing on elimination of poverty, on issues of clean drinking water, sanitation, women's education, and thereby linking it up to the need of security and stability and the need for all the countries to come together to fight and combat global terror. So, you know, for this trip, it's essentially about business, about trying to shore up US FDI for Digital India, Skill India initiatives, for Make in India projects, to try and signal out to the Americans that their interests will also be taken care of, and at the same time to focus on all the larger global, bilateral and multilateral issues. Rajdeep?
Okay, and as Lavina said, when he was in Ireland, he claimed 30 years is what it will take for India to eliminate poverty. So that was the pitch that the Prime Minister was making there in Ireland. Also spoke about the demographic dividend that he believes India has with that young population. Lavina Tandon in Dublin, Smita Sharma in New York. We leave it there. Come back to you for plenty more as we track the Prime Minister on his US visit. Now.